So I have a confession to make. This is maybe the third time that I've ever used Zoom.
Okay, okay. Well, I've seen you on Instagram stories.
Yeah.
I went back and had as I need to do for guests, had a snoop around
How's
and
that?
and did some research. And let me just turn all these bits and pieces off. But you're quite the interviewer yourself. You've done it.
Well, that just happened in lockdown with my sunshine sessions, and I decided to start interviewing people
Uh-huh.
that I found interesting, and discovered that I quite liked interviewing people, and it's a lot less nerve-wracking than being on this side of it when somebody's interviewing you.
It's just a chat. It's just a conversation.
Yeah,
What am I? This will be like 100. I don't know, 145th show or something like that. That's just sort of flown
I
in a
can't
couple of
believe
years,
that.
and it just becomes a conversation. And when you ask me
Mm,
today, is there any questions? I do get asked that. What are you going to ask me? I don't know. I'm
yeah,
not sure where we're going to take this. I'm not sure what route it's going to go.
I
We
like
obviously
that
met.
though.
Let's set the scene in person, and it's thanks to Stevie at Ocean Vertical, because we had the best day down at Dunbar, jumping off rocks and cliffs. How good was that?
That was absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you know, but that was a really last minute decision from myself and my friend Iona that came with me,
Huh?
because Stevie had messaged maybe that morning, I think it was, saying, look, there's a couple of spaces if you want to book on.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? I've always watched on his Instagram the photos and the videos of people co-steering. And I thought, actually, I'm just going to go for it. And I was meant to be meeting Iona that day. And I sent her a message in the morning just saying, look, do you want to do this course with me? I said, it's co-steering. I don't really know what it is, but it's jumping into the water off of cliffs and stuff. And she's that kind of person who is like me, just always up for an adventure. And she texts back and she was like, oh yeah, let's just do it. And that was it. And then a few
Yeah.
hours later, we literally met you guys and went co-steering. But it was so much fun, wasn't it? That
It's
was
the best.
amazing.
It's
Uh-huh.
the best, and I've done it with Stevie at no, but we were at North Berwick. I've done it at North Dunbar as well. So we were at
Oh,
North
okay,
Berwick, weren't
nice.
we?
Yeah,
And I mean, there's so you just don't, people don't understand how good the coastline is here.
yeah.
Obviously, we've got Stevie. I wouldn't recommend anyone goes and explores it themselves and jumps off without the right kit and experts
Yeah,
there.
don't just jump off of random cliffs.
No, no, I don't advise that because they're how high. I mean, that last one we did, that was a real kind of take a deep breath. Am I going to do this
Hmm.
and go for it? But it's on our doorsteps, and
Yeah.
you're in the city centre, wherever you
Hmm.
are. To get to East Lothian, it is easy. And what Stevie puts on with Ocean Vertical is just a great day out or afternoon. It's a full afternoon. You're knackered after it.
Hmm.
You're uncomfortable. You're a bit minging. You're freezing cold. My God, it was good. But it's the people you meet, you know, and it's the fun
Yeah,
you have, isn't it? And it was just brilliant.
definitely. Because I'd heard of you before because I've obviously seen things that Stevie shared about you. So I recognised your name, but I hadn't, I don't think I'd put two and two together properly.
Yeah.
So when he said Nashy, I was like, that's an unusual name. And I've definitely heard that before. Now, that can't be that many people that get called Nashy in the world.
Have I met? I don't think I've met any others. Even my mum
I've
and
met a
dad call me Nash.
Nash.
Even mum and dad call me Nashy. And I've heard my kids call me Nashy every now and again. So it's certainly stuck. It's certainly stuck. But no, that it was great to meet you that day, and Iona and Zoe Macfit, she was there, you know,
Hmm.
and I think one of her other friend. Um, but that's kind of what when I realised who you were after it, when we all started posting and tagging and that bit of WhatsApp group was set up and all that sort of stuff, and realised what your background was, and realised that
Mm.
you're all about adventure and I want to get into everything that you've created. It was great of Stevie to put us together, you know, in that environment, completely where
Hmm.
we want to be, having adventures, meeting new people, and jumping off cliffs, you know.
Yeah,
So
totally.
take us back a bit. I know bits and pieces, but your walking tours, the Facebook group, your Instagram, your ambassador roles, you've got tons going on,
It sounds busy when you put it like that, but
and you've got a full time job.
yeah. So so basically, I'm a nurse. I work as a nurse in Edinburgh just now, um, and my role just now is part time, and I supplement that by working different bank shifts, nursing bank shifts in the hospital and in the community and various different places. So yeah, my work role just now is as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when I was at uni, I sort of going back even further, I used to be a police officer, left the police,
All right.
wanted to be in a care sort of role. I wanted to be in the care industry of some sort. And when I left the police, I moved to Aviemore because there was this advert that I saw for a carer and activity leader in an outdoor centre for people with disabilities. And I thought, you know what? I've quit this job that was a really good job for an 18-year-old. Quit this job. I was living at home. I didn't have any ties. And I thought, I'm going to go off to Aviemore. I'm going to try completely new career path. And I went for it. I wasn't outdoorsy at all, wasn't into sport. Oh my gosh, I was so unfit when I was at the police college training. I was trailing at the back in the runs. Oh, it was terrible, absolutely terrible.
Is there not a minimum level of fitness? You have to do fitness tests to get into the police.
Yeah, and I passed that.
Well, you must be pretty fit. You must have been pretty
I
fit.
mean, it wasn't too taxing.
Okay.
I think the main thing was I didn't enjoy exercise. I didn't enjoy being outside. That was probably the main thing about it. I would exercise because I had to. And when I moved to Aviemore, working at this outdoor centre, the main reason I took that was to be in the care industry. But obviously, the role involved being an activity leader. So we had adapted bikes where we could take wheelchair users out cycling and all these amazing activities. And because I'd never lived in Aviemore before, I was just discovering this brand new place, and I got a bike and I started doing little walks around the lochs and things like that. And that was my way of discovering where I was living. And it was all sort of on foot or on my bike and things like that, and started falling in love with nature and being outside, and felt so liberating discovering this new place and meeting new people, and it was amazing. And that's kind of where a love of the outdoors came from. And after a few years working in the care industry, I kind of just naturally fell into nursing. It was like the next progression, the next step, basically. And when I was at uni, I was still going out on these like really low level local walks and things like that. I would turn up at uni with like boots on and stuff like that. And all these other girls were dolled up really nice with their hair and their makeup done. And they're like, God, you look like you're ready to go up a hill. And I'd say, well, actually, yeah, that's kind of my plan after our classes.
Oh, brilliant.
And then
But I get how Aviemore kind of played a big part in it. Aviemore is without doubt my favourite place in Scotland. We
it is magical.
we go there with the kids, and we like a wee place just outside called Feshy Bridge.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know where that is. That beside,
Yeah,
is it
good choice.
Laganlia? It's not adventure. It's where kids go for camps and all these sorts of things.
Oh, I know who you mean, yeah.
We got snowed in there last February, and it was just the best holiday. We had a week in a cottage. Granny was with us,
Mm.
and it was the best week I can remember for a long time. And we got it obviously just before lockdown came, and it was sort of our last sort of hoorah before everything changed. And
What a place to get snowed in, eh?
it was just the best. We woke up day one,
Mm.
and we're like, we can't get the car out. Luckily, we had a week shopping. There was 2 fires in the place. One particular fire, so I was set. I was made up, and we
Mm-hmm.
could walk everywhere. There was husky sledders shooting past us. There's all sorts
Yep.
going on. It's just the best place for adventure, for settling in, getting snowed in,
Yeah.
and the roads did clear in a week's time, so that was good. I get it. The Aviemore
Yeah.
lifestyle, the culture. I'm not sure. I mean, you lived there.
Mm.
I haven't lived there, but just going in and leaving is just such a tease every time I do it.
Yeah, I bet.
It's just class. It's absolutely amazing. So keep us going on your journey from into nursing, into caring, and
Yeah, I guess people at uni and some friends and things kind of thought it was so strange that I had this whole sort of outdoor lifestyle, even though at that point it was really low level and just really recreational and nothing astounding at all. And somebody just sort of mentioned about would I post photos about it on Instagram. And I had, my own personal Instagram account at the time, and I thought, no, I'm not that sort of person that's going to have multiple accounts for multiple different reasons. But the seed of thought was planted. And a little while after that, I decided to set up my Instagram, which is the one that I use just now.
Mhm.
And I basically dedicated that to my outdoor adventures and things like that. And that was what, 6 years ago? No, maybe not as much as 6 years ago, but it was while I was at uni anyway, studying to do nursing.
Mhm.
And it just sort of naturally formed where I wanted to show people that actually you could study full time or you can work full time, whatever you're doing, whatever is your day job, if you like, you can still get outside, you can still access the great outdoors and appreciate nature and make it part of your life. And that sort of happened organically and naturally, and that's where my Instagram account came from. And yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there.
Snowball for there. I like all the cold water. Are you a cold water swimmer, or are you like me, a dunker? You get in,
I'm
you splash,
definitely a dunker.
splash about,
Yeah.
get in, get some photos, enjoy the
Yeah.
sunset or sunrise, whatever is going on. All these people, fair play to them, the people that sit in it for half an hour,
I know.
and tell us they enjoy it. You know, they tell us they
Yeah.
enjoy it, but the pain when you can't start feeling body parts, it's time to move on, or time to get warm, or run about
It's
or light a fire.
yeah, not safe.
I do it more for a more discipline, or just uncomfortable, and I often think there's not much worse that's going to happen today. You
Mm,
know, if I get in early or go in at night, and just when time allows, it's a nice
hmm.
sort of restart, a refresh, just jumping in the sea. Do you do it regularly? Do you make a point of sort of doing it once a week, or is it just when you're in the area?
Nah. It's honestly, it's normally when it's good weather, when the
Oh,
sea
boo!
when the sea is really calm. I have been in the sea when there's been big waves and it is great fun to be fair, but because I wouldn't really tend to go on my own,
Yeah,
I need to pick and choose when it's going to be so that I've got somebody that I can convince it's a good time to come with me. But if it's like you say, a good sunrise or a good sunset, that's my ideal time. But yeah, it's not something regular. Although I have been thinking recently that maybe I should make it something like just a point of doing it at least once a week or once a fortnight or something.
yeah.
Get a
Just
routine of it.
what what about paddleboarding? Because I saw recently you've just taken up an ambassador's role with is it the board that you use?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that, I mean, that's
So
such a good adventure, getting out the paddleboards.
definitely. When I lived in Aviemore, bearing in mind I moved to Edinburgh 3 years ago, so it's been a little while since I've been in Aviemore. But when I did live there, I borrowed a friend's board a couple of times actually, and they taught me sort of very, very basic how to paddleboard, and I just thought it was amazing. I was out on this Loch Inch actually
Uh-huh.
near Aviemore, and yeah, it was so cool. I just thought I look so cool, like a real badass adventure out on the water, do you know? Because I wasn't that kind of person. I'd done it a little bit with my first job in Aviemore, a little bit of canoeing and things like that. But,
Uh-huh.
that was really well supported by people who were much more experienced than me. And I started tried this paddleboarding a couple of times and I was like, this is just so nice gliding through the water. And since then, since moving to Edinburgh, I'm supported by Taizo at the moment, which is amazing, and they have hire boards. So I got to use their hire boards a few times last year, and then used them again at the start of this year. I just thought this is really cool, especially with an inflatable board.
Yeah,
You can just pack it away, throw it in the boot, drive wherever you're going, inflate it, and you're straight out on the water. It's so accessible and it's just so fun, and it is really cool as well. And
it's the
then
best. The best.
yeah, lockdown this year, I just thought, "Do you know what? I've saved a lot of money, like everybody who was lucky enough to be in a secure job and wasn't spending a lot of money."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, actually, I'm going to treat myself to something that I can enjoy post lockdown, and paddleboard was an obvious option. So, yeah, that was it.
Have you been out ocean vertical yet? Is Stevie taking you out paddleboarding?
Yeah, so I had a lesson with Stevie. In fact, that was the first time I met him because we'd spoken loads in the past, and he contacted me and said, like, come and do a lesson. And I'm so glad I did because my technique was awful before.
Well, I had the oar the wrong way. I was doing it all wrong. I was paddling
Really?
the wrong way. I was doing all sorts of things wrong. The best story I've
Yeah.
got for Stevie, we were going out to Fidra Island
Oh
at
yeah.
night recently, or before the clocks changed. We were going out, and we got there late, and it was getting dark, and this and that, and the waves were coming in, and I'm on my
Yeah.
knees. I'm not. If I'm up on my leg, if I'm standing while the big waves, I'm going to be in. So I'm on my knees. I'm getting better, but Stevie's just powering through the waves, standing up. And I said, I'm sure, Stevie, how the hell are you staying up? What are you doing? And
Yeah.
he just shouts back. He goes, Nashy, you know how you rent flats and sell houses and all that for a living? He's like, this is what I do. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
He's a total legend.
He's a top guy. He chummed me last weekend. I was doing a wee thing for some guys I was supporting up at Ben Nevis, and me and Stevie went up and down Berwick Law a couple of times.
Yeah, is that Fergus
Yeah,
Crawley?
for Fergus and Johnny.
Yeah, they're
And
amazing.
just trying to do a wee bit of awareness for them and the things that they were achieving. It was like, I messaged Stevie. I was like, mate, I can't make it to Ben Nevis. Do you fancy meeting at was it 4 a.m? I think it was 4 a.m. we started at Berwick Law, and he was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll bring the dog. It was like, no, didn't think twice about it. He just turned up, rocked
Straight
up,
there.
straight there. I had like water, kit, rain jacket. Stevie had a t-shirt, pair of boots, and his dog, and ready to go. Like, yeah, I've not really thought this through, but it was great. It was great, and we finished. There was no coffee shops, nothing open in North Berwick High Street, so it was get the job done, get home, and get my boys into football. That was
And
what
you got a
happened.
great sunrise for it as well. Was
We
it not
did.
a cloud inversion?
Yeah, we were standing above the clouds.
It was amazing.
It was just nuts.
Yeah.
The way it went, and I don't know, little things like that. Like, do you do things like that totally off the cuff? Obviously, the Ocean Vertical adventure, you just decided to do it, but some
Yeah.
mornings when you've nothing planned, and you end up just having the best day.
Yeah, like there's one springs to mind, literally just up the Pentland Hills because it's not far from where I live in Edinburgh, so it's really accessible for me. And there's been days where I've just grabbed like my wee camp stove and then gone up for sunrise and literally just sat on the side of a hill eating some porridge. And it's not a big adventure, it's not something really epic, although to a lot of people that does seem amazing and epic. But for me, it's just waking up early and thinking, do you know what? It's going to be a good day today. It's going to be a beautiful sunrise, and just going for it and heading up the hill on my own and making some porridge. And that's something that makes me feel really alive, being able to have that choice, but also being able to have the drive and the motivation to just go for it and be spontaneous and, yeah, just kind of make the most of even a little pocket of time.
That's what a lot of people don't realise.
And I've got days on end where you can go on multi-day hikes. You need to just grab a moment when you've got it and appreciate it for what it is. So that's what I like doing.
That's what we tend not to realise, is how much time we do actually have.
Yeah.
All the time on couches, or time wasted. And now it's dark nights, dark mornings, everything closes in. I tell you what, in all honesty, I never get used to how dark it gets. I'm 36 now. I've had a few years, under the belt. I never get used to the clocks changing and just how dark it gets early.
Yeah, it has a
Hits me pretty hard.
huge impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
And there's people that can't cope with it. There's people that just can't cope. What do you do any different? You head torched up?
Yeah, I mean, just now, I don't know if you're aware of Rianne, who runs Black Girls Hike on Instagram, but she has just recently started doing night hikes. So a friend of hers introduced her to night hiking, and she's been posting on her stories about it literally just in the last couple of weeks. And, she said to me that it gets to the evening and she's ready to cozy up under a blanket and she's ready to just have a quiet night. And now she said she looks forward to the evenings because she's found this new aspect to adventure by going out hiking in the evening. And I thought, you know what, that's so right. You can't let that stop you. That can't be a barrier. So she's definitely kind of re-energized my motivation for going out after hours when it's dark, things like that. So I definitely plan to do that up the Pentlands. But even things just now, like I cycle to work and it's 6 miles from me to where I work in the centre of town. And before lockdown, I got the bus loads because I couldn't really be bothered cycling in the rain and the cold and stuff like that. I had been cycling in the summer last year, and lockdown hit, and I didn't want to go on the bus anymore, and I didn't want to drive because it felt like a pointless journey, a waste of fuel, a waste of parking, stuff like that. So I started cycling again, And now that the clocks have changed, it's so tempting, especially in the morning when I'm in my bed and I'm cozy and my partner's still asleep next to me. And I think, oh, it'd be so tempting to stay in bed for a bit longer and take the car or get the bus. And it happened this morning, and I thought, no, I need to get up, I need to get out, get the lights on the bike and cycle to work. And by the time I'm out on my bike, it doesn't even matter that it's cold because I'm pedaling up a hill and I get roasting anyway. And then it means that I can cycle home again. So that's 20 kilometers in a day that I've cycled. And albeit it's in traffic in Edinburgh and it's not scenic and it's dark and it's cold and whatever, but that's 20 kilometers that I've moved when I'm sitting at a desk in the GP practice where I work, and I'm not really moving a lot at work. So to actually get that time cycling in the morning and then in the evening in the pitch black, but I've got my lights on, and just now that's what I'm really focusing on, cycling every day when I'm working and just keeping that routine because it makes such a difference, I find.
Those mornings when you hear the rain pouring outside, have you got any tips, techniques of how you get yourself up? Have you got anything? Do you put your phone away from the bed, or what you like with things
I
like that?
try not to look at my phone for the first hour of the day. Some days I'm good at it and some days I'm not. Some days I've got messages that I'm really excited to read, from people on Instagram, from a conversation we were having the night before or whatever.
Yeah.
But I try to keep my phone away from my line of sight, or I leave it in a different room when I'm getting ready in the morning. I think the main thing is feeling prepared. So I'll always have a good breakfast. Just now when it's dark, I'm having porridge. So it's a warm meal first thing in the morning, and it's full of different flavors and textures and stuff like that. And I find like that gives me a real kickstart in the morning. But also being prepared in terms of kit. So I love my helmet. It's bright and it's fun, and I love putting it on. I probably look like a complete div, but I just love like feeling prepared and looking the part. And even just knowing that my bike lights are charged up so I'm ready to cycle to work, it's so
Yeah.
silly, but feeling prepared makes me feel like I'm ready for an adventure even though I'm cycling to work. But having all my stuff kind of laid out and ready and things ready to grab to pack my bag and stuff like that, it does feel a little bit like packing my bag for going on an adventure, even if I'm just packing my lunch and packing my uniform and stuff like that,
Yeah. Being organised. Yeah, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. You mentioned
Yeah.
there. You mentioned there about messages, and you sometimes get a message in your inbox that excites you, or you've been waiting for it. What sort of things have happened to you through this journey to getting your Facebook page up and running, to having people supporting you, having people wanting to come on adventures with you? What
Oh
sort of
my God.
things that sort of you remember that have thought this is what I want to be doing?
Where do I even start? I mean, oh, that's a huge question. When I set up my Instagram page, like I was saying to you earlier,
Yeah.
it was about, the everyday adventures and kind of encouraging people to find a bit of time outside despite busy lives and things like that. Um, and I was training for the Great Glencoe Challenge 2.5 years ago, which is the equivalent of a marathon, but it's a hike from Glencoe to Fort William. And when I was training for that, I was posting it on Instagram, and I was obviously training on my own because this was before I even set up my walking group. And I was posting highlights and things like that and bits and pieces about my training. And people started messaging me. I don't know if people found it through hashtags or whatever it was, but people started messaging me saying, can't believe you go out hiking on your own, and that's really cool, and I would love to join you, and all of these kind of messages. And I didn't think anything of it because it's what I'd always done since I was in Aviemore. I would just go out walking sort of on my own. And then the fact that people were saying to me, that's really, the word inspiring is used a lot, but inspiring, that covers the whole umbrella of emotions and feelings and things like that and reasons. And when people were saying that to me, I started thinking, well, maybe this is kind of unusual that I'm going out on my own, and maybe it is encouraging people to find their own adventures or to kind of be a bit more independent and stuff like that. And after I did the Great Glencoe Challenge, which was amazing, and I would recommend it as a long distance hike in Scotland. It was so good. That's sort of when I started thinking about setting up the Facebook group, because I thought, well, how can I progress? How can I learn more? for myself, and how can I improve how I'm accessing the outdoors. And I thought about doing my mountain leader training, and decided that I needed to meet people to walk with if I was going to kind of train to be a mountain leader, because I couldn't just do that on my own. And that's where the Facebook group came from. And I decided to post on this Facebook group that I created to say, you know, I'm going hiking here on this day at this time, and if you want to come with me, come along. And that's how it all started. You know, people started noticing it on my Instagram, and you know, I think people like the connections that you can make, because when you get to a stage in your life where maybe your school friends don't necessarily share the same interests as you, or the people that you went to uni with, you know, you've all branched out, you've got different hobbies and interests and things, and you find yourself in this outdoor environment. You love being outside and kind of challenging yourself, and actually nobody that's close to you, who you've grown up with or who you've become friends with, enjoys that as well. And you kind of, or that's how I was. I found myself quite isolated. Even though I lived in Aviemore, I didn't make friends with people that
Mm-hmm.
kind of enjoyed the same things. And that's what so many people are like, you know. And that's why people join the Facebook group.
Some of the best things about social media is you find people, obviously you would never come across them without social media and online, but there's other people out there that like the same stuff as you.
Yeah,
Or they're
totally.
doing the same stuff, or they're even crazier than you are. And
Yes.
you just start attracting each other toward each other. Then what you've done, I think it's the dad in me, when you said there, this is where I'm going to be at this time, anyone come along and join me. It's like, have you ever had any weird encounters, or somebody turn up, it's like, oh God, I really want to be walking with them?
No,
No, good,
actually.
good,
I
good.
mean,
I don't have to
there's
worry
been
about
some
you.
strange conversations, but no, I mean, it's never just been me and one other person. And
Okay.
even if it was, I don't know, I don't think I would feel threatened or intimidated or daunted, because I don't know, I guess I'm quite a trusting person.
Mm.
And, you know, the police background, I could probably have them on the floor in a few seconds if I really wanted to.
You've still got the skills. You've still got the
No,
no.
definitely not.
How far have you gone? Is everything you do in Scotland? Have you ever gone further afield?
So I have done things a little bit further afield. So, okay, quite a lot further afield. Last year in September, I went out to Morocco and hiked the three highest mountains in the Atlas Mountains.
All right.
And that was basically Marie Cheng, who runs Three Peaks Adventures, which was the company that I went with. We happened to meet at the Women's Outdoor Expo in Bristol, I think it was, like a few years ago. And she was already a member of my walking group at that point. She travelled up to Scotland from London, where she was living at the time, and joined one of my hikes, and we became really good friends, and there was all these sort of connections. And then she approached me to ask if I wanted to go out to Morocco and do this Three Peaks hike with her, like with her company. And she said, you know, do you think you could recruit a team from your walking group? I was like, well, I could try. And so I recruited 15 people to join me in Morocco. And it was insane because she didn't even need to advertise it. I just put it on Instagram and put it on Facebook. And I was like, hi guys, going out to Morocco to the Atlas Mountains next year. Anybody want to join? And it just blew up. So many people were like, maybe I'll sign up.
You're a trailblazer. You're a trail.
It was
What's it like?
mad.
What's it like leading all these people, or having people in your community that you set up? It's your effort. It's your, blood, sweat, and tears that's gone into it to kind of create this environment that people maybe don't rely on you, I'm sure, but they want
No.
to know what you're doing, and they want to say, "Oh,
Mm,
I'm coming." If you're going, I'm coming.
yeah.
They're following you. The people have followers. You've got a lot of followers online, but you've
Mm.
literally and physically got people that will follow you up a mountain.
I've
That must be
never
pretty
thought
cool.
of that.
That must be
Yeah,
pretty
the
cool.
word followers. Yeah, when you put it into, it is people generally following the walk, I guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
it's
I don't
awesome.
know, because when I started the Facebook group, like I said, that was because I wanted to do my mountain leader training. So I wanted to find people that I could go on hikes with. And it really was like a social sort of aspect to it. And I suppose a selfish aspect to it, because I needed that sort of that dimension to training to be a mountain leader.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't ever done my mountain leader um, training, or even, thought about the assessment and things like that, because the walking group has grown so much and I've loved that side of running it, that mountain leader training's kind of been put on the back burner. It's been put on hold because I've loved what I'm doing. And I think because I never had the intention of setting up a huge group or an organization or a community or anything like that, I really just wanted to meet some people that I could go hiking with. And I think the fact that it's been so organic and I never had an agenda, I never had a strategy, it hasn't all been about marketing or business or anything like that. It's just been a case of wanting to make some friends, meeting some really great friends, and then watching other friendships form and create as well. And it's just been, I think the best word for it is that it's just been really organic, and there was never a hidden agenda or anything like that. So I think I always look at it as like a it's just a social thing,
Yeah.
but actually along the way people have said to me, that they love seeing what I'm doing, and they love the friends that they've made through it. And it's when people remark on things like that that I think, actually, I did that and I didn't even mean to create it, and it just
Mm-hmm.
happened, and it's so empowering, and it feels like such a brilliant community. It's so supportive, and people are really, really positive all the time and really willing to help each other. And it's
Yeah.
really cool. It
Well,
is cool.
well, Abby, who was obviously my wife, she was with us on the coast steering. She was when she heard you
Yeah.
were coming on the pod, and tonight she was like, "Make sure you tell Iona I'm coming on one of the walks." So she'll bring her
Yes.
team and all her girls and whoever she'll put something out, and she'll get a whole stack of folk as well. So you must see
Yeah.
little pods form, and people bring their friends, and their friends know
Hmm.
those people, and it does sound awesome. It does
It's
sound
so cool.
a great
Yeah.
community. Do you know the Forge? Do you follow the Forge on Instagram? Graham Walker,
Yeah.
the mountain
Yeah.
man. He's a great guy. Have you met him before?
No, I haven't.
He's all about the mountains and mountains
Oh,
and
okay.
adventure. You guys, I don't know. He'd be a good one for your Instagram live.
Mm.
He'd be a really good one if you want to talk about adventure and just where he's been and
Yeah, cool.
all the people that he promotes and helps. It's the leaning back on social media. And I never knew Graham. I still haven't met him face to face.
Hmm.
But there's so many people like that have come into my world through the podcast and all the things that I do that have an impact and change your life.
Hmm.
And is there people? I'm sure maybe not everybody, but are there people on the Facebook group or in your community that don't come and walk with you, but when they
Oh,
know
yeah.
but they know you're on an adventure and they'll go on their own wherever they are, or are you inspired? You must be inspiring and pushing people to do other things when they can't actually get to you.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've been on the Facebook page, but there's 3,800 members. So there's absolutely no way that everybody's going to be in one place at one time.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I try to encourage on the Facebook page is, to start with, it was me posting about walks that I was going on. And then, other people started saying, can I share details of where I'm going, and, I'd
Uh,
like some company.
yeah.
So other people started posting events as well. And with lockdown, it's been very different, and that hasn't obviously been happening. But people are still posting photos of where they're going, what they're doing, what they're experiencing, even if it's a solo adventure, a solo hike, a solo swim, whatever it is. People are constantly sharing photos of where they are in the world. There's people
Yeah.
who are like in America and stuff like that are members of the group, which is so mad, but they're sharing photos of that. And there's people down in the lakes and down in the Peak District, way up north in Scotland, or on the islands and things. And or if people go on holidays and it's an adventure holiday, they love to share photos, and they love to share bits of advice and stuff. And that's what I mean, the word community applies so much, because it's not people boasting about what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, there'll definitely be some people who are like, look at what I've achieved. But
Yeah.
that's good, that's encouraged, because we don't do that enough. We don't big ourselves up enough, and we definitely don't big other people up enough either. So for somebody to post photos saying, I achieved this today, or I went to this place and this is what I've always dreamed of doing. And there's so many people, Nashi, who either message me privately or post on the page saying, you know, I haven't made it along to a walk, I haven't met any of you guys, but you've all helped to inspire me to achieve this, to do this, to go there. And then they post the photos of it. And that's so special, because that's them saying that they've not made it along to meet anybody, but the ethos of the group and the feel of the group has helped them to kind of find that inner motivation and determination, and they've gone and done it anyway. And that's really, really cool.
Why don't more folks big each other up? It's weird, isn't it? It's
Don't know.
this mentality that's kind of drummed into a lot of people, or I was going to say into us, but I think I like to think that I'm trying to create here with the podcast. I try to get after it and do as much as I can fitness wise and all these sorts of things. And I get messages like that as well from people and strangers saying, Nashy, you got me out of bed, you know, all that sort of stuff. Awesome. I absolutely love it. But there is something that people, they don't encourage, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's almost default is negative, you know, quietly look at them, good for them, but I'm not going to help or get involved.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. And I think self growth is something that doesn't seem to be promoted, because it does almost come across as boasting or, you know, big headedness or something like that. And that shouldn't be right. But I know myself that I'm quite guilty for that, because, you know, I don't necessarily want to shout about my achievements, things, because I wouldn't want somebody to feel bad if they compared themselves to me. And that's so silly. That's not the way that it should be at all. And it's the same as supporting somebody else. Just because somebody is doing something well, even if they're a competitor of yours in whatever strain of life it is, you know, if you were to support that person, they would probably support you back, you know. And by looking at them as the competition or whatever, you know, if you're to badmouth somebody or to speak negatively about them, it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't. You're wasting that time speaking about that person, thinking about that person in a negative manner. And we're just so bad as a nation. I think in Britain we're so apologetic and hide things away and feel shame about things. And, you know, as a nation, we're not kind of loud and proud. You know, we're just not.
Yeah, I think we should be. No,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with it to the point of there's so much we should be proud of, and then so many
Yeah.
people maybe they don't appreciate how good they are. You know,
Mhm.
they don't really appreciate it, and they don't know how much that phone call or message that they send will really impact someone's life. It just
Yeah,
little things
totally.
that we can all do. Will just if you can cheer someone up or one person or a couple of people up, it's a good
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
But the power of your community was shown. I followed your Instagram when you announced that you were going to take everything one step further recently, and you
Yeah.
set up the GoFundMe page. And what, a day or a couple of days, you hit your target. The
Within
dream
24 hours.
the dream is alive. You know, tell us
So
about it.
alive.
What's happening?
So basically, it's been nearly 2.5 years that I've been running the walking group. There's nearly 4,000 people in the walking group. Over 12,000 people follow me on Instagram. It's insane. I don't know how it's happened, but it's amazing. And I've learned a lot from people in the walking group. So there are people who join who are complete beginners, but there's also people who are at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. You know, they work for mountain rescue, or they're really highly qualified mountain leaders. And a lot of these people, and everywhere in between, you know, a lot of these people have taught me a lot about navigation, about safety, about everything to do with accessing the hills, but also other things like wild swimming, stand up paddleboard, and everything like that. Any kind of outdoor activity that you can think of. And I just started thinking, you know, during lockdown this year, I was a bit like, when lockdown ends, where do I see my Facebook group going? What do I see happening with my community? Do I just continue as things are and, you know, offer these kind of social group hikes, or do I think about stepping things up and going to the next level? And I guess people like Stevie, to be fair, at Ocean Vertical, and seeing what he's created and seeing the impact he has on people when he passes on his skills, and loads of other outdoor organizations like his, have kind of made me realize that actually passing on knowledge and skills and experience and things like that means that people can make even more out of accessing the outdoors and enjoy it more. be even safer and things like that. So I started thinking, how can I facilitate skills courses to upskill all of these new people who were joining my walking group during lockdown, because they needed to satisfy that craving for being outside when we've all been isolated and shut in. So I started thinking about forming this social enterprise where I can provide skills courses using all of the people in my community that I've met who are qualified leaders or instructors and things like that, who already do courses. But I thought, I've got a ready-made market basically of people who've joined this community, joined this group, who want to get outside more and who want to improve and progress and see amazing places and be even better. And I thought, if I can gather together a group of outdoor instructors and leaders and figure out what courses they can all provide, what qualifications they've all got, and then offer these skills courses directly to my community, I'm saying to them, you can be part of this community and you can enjoy the free walks and the social aspect, but you've got this extra dimension now where you can actually learn vital skills and be safe in the mountains and see that progression that you possibly wouldn't see otherwise. And that's my plan. That's what I want to do. I want to see people become even more skilled, and including myself. I've done some skills courses and I've learned absolutely heaps, and I've got loads still to do, but being able to provide that for other people, I think is something that I'm really, really passionate about.
So what other sort of things is like Stevie? Is Stevie going to take courses? Who have you partnered up with, or who's going to start taking all the giving people the skills that they want?
So I've approached freelancers who
Okay.
are members of the group already, people that I've either met before and have really enjoyed their company, really enjoy the way that they teach and the way that they come across and their inclusiveness, or people who are members of the group that I haven't had the privilege of meeting, but have heard their stories, and I am absolutely inspired by what they do and I can see their passion, and I've spoken to them online,
Yeah.
and it's a very, very small group, just a few people that I've spoken to so far, because I didn't know how popular it was going to be or how supportive people were going to be, and I thought I just need a core little group of instructors. And don't know how things are going to go with restrictions just now, so obviously can't plan for any courses, but hopefully in the new year when things start to ease, I'll be able to get a bit of a timetable together and say, right, going to start with basic courses like just your basic navigation, map reading, learning how to use a compass, because I didn't know how to do that until last year, and it made a huge difference. And it's so powerful, and to make sure that people have that basic knowledge and basic, experience is really, really important.
Just for the safety side of it, isn't it? There must have been a
Yeah,
few people came on your courses really early doors. Like this girl knows exactly what she's doing up there. She can't even read a compass.
no idea. No
But that's
idea.
that's what's so nice about the story. That's what's so nice about the journey, that you've
Yeah,
not fallen into this. You've created it and you've worked hard to build this community. But you've just built this passion and people have joined.
yeah.
You're working on your
I,
passion project and people love it.
I think the other thing with skills courses, and this is how I feel personally as well, is you look at a company or you look at a website or an organization and you think, yeah, it's all right for them because that's what they've always done. They're so highly qualified. And it almost, I can see how it puts people off and how it's put me off in the past, thinking, I'm a complete newbie. And what are they going to think of me that I know absolutely nothing? And it's kind of getting over that fear and thinking, well, that's what the course is there for. It's there to give you the skills and to do it in a safe and protected environment
Mm-hmm.
where you're not going to get into trouble. And I think the reason that people have been so supportive, and I set up my GoFundMe page basically because with any startup business you're going to incur costs, and I reached out to my community to say, if you love the group, or if you have joined the group and you really enjoy it, then please consider donating or offering services to help me and share the message and things. And like I say, within 24 hours I'd raised over £1,000 from people saying this is a great idea. And I was thinking to myself, why do people think it's a great idea? But they've already become part of the community and they feel like they're in that supported and motivational environment. And actually, if I'm the person saying to them, I've got all of these amazing, lovely, professional but friendly instructors. I trust them. You can trust them too. And I think that's where people are really buying into the fact that it's a great idea because they're already a member of that community. This is just the next level. And this is me saying, you know, I can do this. I was a complete beginner. You can do this too. And it's not a big, daunting, really qualified company. Do you know, it's me saying this is part of everyday adventure and this is just the next step. This is how you can progress that little bit further.
Yeah, it's awesome. But tell me, have you thought beyond, or have you thought about the future, or where this could take you? And
No.
no, no, you've not thought beyond.
Not really. I didn't realize how supportive people would be, and then I put it up on Instagram, and I put it up on Facebook, on the Facebook group, and I was just inundated with messages, and I thought, oh, this is a good idea. Okay, yeah, this is gonna go somewhere. And then I thought, right, I better get a website together, and I better do this, and I better do that, and I just wasn't really organized at all.
Well, it's looking at the entrepreneurial journey, isn't it? You've built
Yeah,
something that's working
totally.
that people want, and it's a massive congratulations to you. You know,
Thank you.
it's
That's really
awesome.
kind.
So what is the Facebook page? Where can people get you?
So the Facebook page is called Iona's Adventures. When you request to join the Facebook page, it pops up saying that there's 3 questions that you have to answer before your request is approved. And that's basically my way of filtering out who really does want to be a member of the group and who can take a couple of minutes out of their day to answer the question. Because the first question asks why you want to join the group, you know, if you've got any goals or ambitions. And it's not to say that you need to have big goals or ambitions, it's purely for my interest because I like to see who's joining the group. And the second question asks what experience you have. So it's amazing for me to see that there's complete beginners. You know, there was a lot of people during lockdown who were saying that they just wanted to access the outdoors more, and this was their way of kind of finding that motivation and inspiration by seeing other people's posts. And then the third question asks, where did you hear about the group? And that is the one that is so interesting because it's amazing to see how powerful word of mouth is, how powerful social media is. Things like this podcast, you know, seeing people's specific connections and where they've heard about it. And actually, it's got to the stage now where Facebook is now using it as a recommended group. So I guess it links in with um, words that people use. Maybe, you know, Facebook's picking up on that and it's suggesting it as a group, which is insane because I never thought that that was something that would happen. But, you know, power of social media.
It says a lot about what you've built if people are filling in the 3 questions. Because I'm sure there's a
Yeah,
lot of people who just want to join and just hit it and then see what happens. But they've actually got to put a bit of effort in
yeah.
and think about it and answer your question. So if someone just doesn't put any answers in, no, they're a non-starter. They're not getting in.
No. So there's over
Tough rules.
500 people sitting in
Oh,
that request section just now
oh,
that haven't filled it in. And you know, I guess with Facebook, people click on it and we do everything so quickly and it's click
yeah.
here and click there and we're on to the next thing. And maybe people don't actually realize that it's popped up saying about the questions. They've just
Mm.
clicked the request and then they've gone on to the next thing. And there have been some people recently who I've looked at the answered questions and they requested to join like last year and they've obviously gone to find the Facebook group again this year, realized they weren't a member, so they've clicked to join again, and that's when they've realized about the questions. So yeah, that's really interesting. But yeah, it's just my way of filtering who can take 30 seconds, a minute to just type out their answers. And it doesn't, whatever the answer, it doesn't make any difference whether they get in or not. If they've answered even one question, it's an automatic entry. But it's, for me, it's my baby. Do you know, this group means so much to me. So actually seeing how people relate to it and connect to it, and what's their reason for joining. You know, it's fascinating, it's amazing, I love it.
Good on you. Good on you. What's the business going to be called in the website?
So it's just going to be Iona's Adventures as well. So we've
Yep.
got Iona's Adventures, the community, which is the Facebook social side of things. Then we're going to have Iona's Adventures, the business side of things, where you can learn new skills, progress, and it's all legitimate and official. And yeah, I'm just going to keep it all one name, keep it the same.
Good on you. Well done. I really appreciate you joining me for a chat. You know, it's been great, and I'm sure Abby's certainly going to be on one of your adventures.
Amazing.
I think, as I say, I'll be East Coast jumping off rocks. So I'm sure we'll cross paths again, whether it's paddleboarding or
Definitely.
whatever we're doing. But this has been awesome. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thanks for inviting me on. Honestly, it's been a while since we've been on a podcast, and I forgot how fun it is. And yeah, just thinking back on my journey as well, do you know, and realizing how much progression I've made as a person, and the Facebook group and Instagram and everything, it's given me so much confidence. And to have people like you, and I looked back through the people that you've interviewed, wow, I mean, I feel honored. So to have people like you invite me on to do something like this makes me think, you know, I'm doing something right, and people want to hear this, and this is going to help somebody, and that's really empowering, and it's empowering for me, empowering for other people. It's just, I love it.
Well, you're the inspiration for me because you built something and you're turning it into a business, and I'm on a slightly different journey, but a similar journey. Because I've got a
Yeah,
full-time job, family, kids, and all that sort of stuff. And as we sit here 8 o'clock at night, you know, we could be sitting on the couch. I could be sort of feet up, but like you say, tomorrow I've got Nims Purja on the podcast. You know, a
amazing.
famous mountaineer. But that doesn't necessarily make a difference to me because your story's as inspiring. What he's done, I'm not going to get up all 14 of the highest mountains ever at 8,000 meters. But what you've built is so inspiring to the point of you've not given up. You've probably had days where you've thought, why am I doing this? You've maybe had days where someone said something a wee bit nasty or got you thinking, or it is raining 2 days in a row and you cannot be bothered.
Yeah,
You keep getting up. You keep getting up, and
definitely.
that's what we have to do. You know, we have
Yeah.
to do that. And I'm an avid follower now of all your pages.
Thank you.
And thank you and thanks from, I don't know, from anyone that's listening to this. I'm sure they're followers of you on Instagram, or they will be soon. Thanks for everything you're doing because you will be changing and helping people's lives.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I appreciate it.
Good on you. Well, here, let's catch up in the real world soon when we can get out and enjoy these adventures, okay?
Yes, I would love that. And I have a mega girl crush on your wife. I had to put it out there.
Good on you. Let's get after it, Abs, if anyone wants to follow her on Instagram. Yeah, she keeps me on my toes with her adventures and runs and
Yeah,
cool
no
walks.
wonder.
Good on you. I'll pass that on.
Thanks, Nashy.